So markets are in the green after we saw a pump over the weekend and everyone was anticipating that we could be seeing a move on Bitcoin. We do have some key events that are going to be happening this week, and there's some mixed perspectives if we're going to be deviating after this pump or if we're going to keep on continuing. Today, I want to walk you through exactly the price action we're currently seeing, the key perspectives and news events that are taking place, and exactly everything that's going on in the market. So with all that being said, let's go and jump straight into everything you need to be aware of. So as I said, markets are seeing a little bit of a pump. Over the weekend, we did see some green, but overall moving into Monday is where we saw a huge rip up. And now everyone's anticipating if we're going to be seeing some downward price action. Ethereum has also been seeing that green, waiting to see exactly if we're going to be able to break out or if we're going to get rejected and keep on with this downward price action that we have been seeing with the markets. Now, altcoins are following the price action around Ethereum. This is why it looks almost exactly identical. The only thing is it's more volatile. So if Ethereum can start to recover, this is where altcoins can also see a little bit of recovery, but all eyes are also on Bitcoin dominance right now and how it has been having a gradual increase. This is not necessarily too good for altcoins because they could be squeezing out the liquidity out of the market. But at the end of the day, only time will tell if we start to see a rally for Bitcoin and altcoins getting squeezed even more. Now, as I said, key news events happen on a week-to-week basis. And on the channel, I try to keep you updated with everything that's going on. I did have a little bit of a late start to the week because on Monday was my birthday. So I'm pretty much just getting back into the markets and seeing everything that's going on though. So on Monday, which was on Monday, and then now today is Tuesday, we saw the November ISM manufacturing PMI data come out. And then today, the September JOLTS job openings data. Moving into tomorrow, we have the November ADP non-farm role employment data. And then also the November S&P Global Services PMI data and November ISM non-manufacturing PMI data. So a lot of data in terms of exactly employment as well as a few sectors within the economy. So this is going to be really important. Moving into Thursday, we have the initial jobless claims data, and then on Friday, September PCE inflation data, and December MI consumer sentiment data. So all this is going to be super important, anticipating rate cuts that are going to be happening already in the middle of December. The final month of 2025 has arrived. This is going to be really crazy, wrapping up everything, and you need to be prepared for this, which is why everyone is really getting crazy moving into the start of 2026. Now, as the markets have been progressing, we can see that Bitcoin has surged above 93,000, from there getting rejected as leverage shorts liquidations near 400 million over the last 24 hours. So all those shorts are pretty much just getting liquidated right now. Bitcoin has now added 200 billion in market cap in 36 hours. And right now, all eyes are on leverage. We also are seeing more updates around Trump talking about specific, announcements around more likely deals and hopefully ease in conflicts. But jumping into another perspective from Ted, we're actually not seeing that with the Russia-Ukraine peace deal that's falling apart. So on top of that, we're keeping up with multiple sectors within the economy and pretty much just how everything is looking. But the stock markets are reflecting that more than likely it's not going to be looking too hot, especially since we're starting to see a little bit of a lack of uncertainty in the market. Now, Ted is an individual that keeps up with the macro perspective around Bitcoin and overall global economic events and how it could be having an effect on the markets. And one of the biggest things he had an update on about 3 hours ago was that the Russia-Ukraine peace deal falls apart. President Putin says Europe sabotaged the peace deal intentionally and warns if Europe wants a war with us and starts it, a situation may quickly arise where there is no one left for us to negotiate with. That is a very crazy statement. And if we start to see a escalation in these, tensions, then it's not going to be looking too good for the market. So Killa right now is another individual that keeps up with, multiple angles around Bitcoin and the perspective around the pumps and the shorts that we have been seeing. And the biggest thing is that he's watching closely the specific dates around December, which is going to be the 4th and the 10th, as these dates act as key pivots for directional volatility. Goes on to say Bitcoin has flipped both the weekly and monthly opens after previously holding bullish structure around 86.8K, which he says he noted in his last post. This is a strong move upward. He says we swept the early monthly lows as expected, and now the yearly open, along with the liquidity sitting above, becomes the next logical target. You generally don't see a reaction off the lows this strong without eventually taking the next major external liquidity, with that in mind, Bitcoin ideally needs to hold the 90.3K to 89.3K zone for the continued bullish momentum. The worst case scenario would be to drop down to the 86.8K region. That would be max pain conditions with FOMC approaching. It seems more probable that we test these levels above the yearly opening, and then possibly with some manipulative wicks, making the December 4th narrative pivot especially important. If we truly are pushing higher in the short term, I don't expect any sharp retraces. More likely we consolidate in an upper range heading into FOMC. Hopefully these levels give us some structure to work with. I honestly believe though, based off of what we're seeing with the previous range and everything, that we are going to be seeing a deviation and a retest of that 89,000 zone. Maybe nothing really crazy in deviations, as he said, trying to hold that, ideal zone around 90.3K to 89.3K, but only in due time, guys, will we actually see if Bitcoin's going to hold this range and continue the bullish momentum, or if we're just going to be breaking down from here. This is key stuff. And as we approach the end of the week, I'm going to let you know my perspective around approaching the 4th, which is 2 days from now, and then also approaching the 10th as well. Dr. Profit has been one of the individuals that has been max short ever since we hit 126,000 for Bitcoin, and he's talking about key zones of liquidity and where he believes that we're going to be, hitting, and then from there starting to deviate down more. Jumping into the green, he does believe that we could be breaking back above 100,000, and then from there, after we hit all of that liquidity and everyone jumps back into the market, we see a massive dump, which is exactly what I was anticipating. That's what I said in previous episodes on the channel, how I'm sure we're going to be seeing one last run up. Everyone's going to anticipate Bitcoin's going to just explode. It's going to get everyone to start longing with max leverage, and then it's just going to sweep everybody out of the market, as opposed to all the bears that are shorting with the current positions that we're seeing. So Benjamin Cohen is one of the main individuals that keeps us updated with key indicators around price action with Bitcoin and altcoins. And one of the major things he talked about was, of course, Fed tightening ending, and then the biggest thing, Bitcoin dominance is starting to do some, rally moves, which is why he wants to make a whole new video on exactly what's going on with Bitcoin dominance and what it means for the market. As we keep on progressing throughout everything and we start to see Bitcoin dominance start to reclaim specific zones like that 60% region, this is where we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth on what it means and what you should be expecting for the markets. Now, overall, as I said, markets are just trading sideways after seeing a massive pump over the weekend, moving into December 1st when quantitative tightening ended and quantitative expansion and easing is going to begin. So this is where a lot of people are expecting massive pumps in the market, while others are potentially expecting that we could be seeing deviations. But that is currently what is happening in the market. Key news events that are going to be happening this week is going to be having a massive effect on volatility, and it's going to be affecting rate cuts that are going to be happening in the middle of December. On top of that, there's expectations around Bitcoin with specific key dates that mark pivots like December 4th and December 10th. And as we keep on progressing through the week, I'm going to let you know exactly what I am doing and what you should expect with everything that's going on. I know the main thing is altcoins. Everyone wants to know when altcoins are going to explode, but we need to be waiting for, Bitcoin to make specific moves so Ethereum can make specific moves and liquidity can shift in the proper way. If you guys have any questions or suggestions on content, please drop it down below. I try to make quick videos like this for you, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, giving you exactly what is going on in the market and no fluff or anything else in between. I appreciate all the support you guys show me on the channel. Stay tuned, and hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. Peace.